Justice Minister. It was very dark all around. Suddenly, someone knocked at the door.
Who is there?
Chandrapal asked while opening the door.
A foreigner. Can I spend the night at your place?
Hearing this, Chandrapal opened the door and he noticed a young man standing before him. He smiled and said,
Pleasure is all mine. This house will become holy with the feet of a guest. Please come inside.
Chandrapal took the guest inside his house. His son welcomed the guest. The foreigner was mesmerized by the hospitality shown by them. After having food, both started talking. They were talking about the condition of the country at that time. Chandrapal said,
Injustice is happening these days. My blood boils out of rage after seeing all this.
But the foreigner didn't agree with his statement. He said,
It is easy to find fault, but difficult to take some actionable steps.
Chandrapal felt as if someone had questioned his opinion. He said,
If I get a chance, I will show you what justice is.
So, you only want an opportunity?
Yes, I want an opportunity. No criminal will escape punishment.
No, this is a very difficult task.
Nothing is hard.
Hearing this, the foreigner smiled. After some time, both of them slept. In the morning, the foreigner thanked Chandrapal and left his place. After a few days, some soldiers came inquiring about Chandrapal's house. They told Chandrapal to visit the court. Chandrapal was shocked after hearing this. He couldn't understand why he was called by the king. Did that foreigner make a false complaint to the king? Thinking this, he went with the soldiers. Chandrapal's heart was beating so fast when he reached the court. Then the king entered the court and said with a smile,
O Brahmin, you must have recognized me. Do you remember? You had said if you were given a chance, you would do the justice. I want to give you a chance. Are you ready?
At first, Chandrapal was little nervous. Then he took a deep breath and said,
If this is the will of the king, then I am ready.
Very nice.
Having said this, the king took off the ring from his finger and put it on Chandrapal's finger. This was the state currency of the Emperor Ashok. Now, Chandrapal was the justice minister. He started making proper arrangements of the state. As a result of his effective management, law and order prevailed in the state. After 1 month, somebody killed the security guard of the palace at night. By the morning, this news spread everywhere. Chandrapal was so much eager to solve this case that he forgot about eating and drinking. He worked day and night to find the culprit. After a lot of efforts, he found the culprit. But he was shocked. The king himself killed the guard. It was very difficult to declare the king a culprit. Chandrapal was confused. On one hand, he was the minister of justice and on the other hand, the servant of the king. But in the eyes of law, there is no difference between a king and a common man. The next day, Chandrapal was so quiet. He had decided what should he do. After taking a bath and changing his clothes, he reached the court at the right time. King Ashoka was sitting on the throne. As soon as he arrived, he asked Chandrapal,
Have you identified the culprit?
The justice minister boldly said,
Yes, I have identified the culprit.
Then bring him to me.
The justice minister stayed silent for a while. Then pointing to one of his superiors, he said,
Arrest him, it's my order.
The indication was towards the king. Everybody was silenced hearing this. The king's face turned red with anger. He stood up from the throne and said,
You are forgetting your limits.
The minister of justice looked like he had not heard anything. He repeated his words once again.
Hey you, what are you seeing me? Arrest the culprit.
In a few seconds, the king was handcuffed. Chandrapal said,
Ashok, you are charged with the murder of the guard. What would you like to say about this?
The king was furious. The Justice Minister asked once again.
Do you accept your crime?
Yes, I have killed the guard, but he was stubborn.
That we will decide. You have killed a state employee. You are a criminal. You are sentenced to death.
The Minister of Justice gave his judgment. There was silence in the assembly. The king bowed his head after hearing the decision of the Justice Minister. He himself wanted to test Chandrapal. Chandrapal passed his exam. The king was so happy to have such minister. On the order of the Minister of Justice, an employee brought a gold statue of the emperor.
Gentlemen, it is true that I am a justice minister. It is also true that the culprit should be punished. But the culprit is none other than the emperor himself. In the scriptures, the king is considered as the form of God. That's why only God can punish him. Therefore, I ordered that the king be released with a warning. Let this golden idol be hanged in his place so that people learn a lesson.
Hearing the Justice Minister's justice, people started cheering. When everyone left, then Chandrapal returned the ring to the king and said,
King, please take this state currency embedded ring back. I did not want to bear this burden.
Hearing him, King Ashoka replied,
You have opened my eyes. Your courage is appreciated. No one can bear the burden other than you.
The Minister of Justice agreed to King's decision.